Coincidentally enough, hearings held yesterday on restaurant carry. Linda Walker with Buckeye Farms Association joins us on the program. And Linda, glad to have you on board tonight.
Hi, Cam. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on the program.
Well, thank you for having me, and hopefully we can come back on next week and give a little more good news.
Okay, so it sounds like yesterday's hearing went pretty well then.
Yeah. Real quick, brief history of Restaurant Carry in Ohio. We ran it last session, so we're about 2.5 years into working on Restaurant Carry. It had passed with full bipartisan support through the Senate, and the Speaker of the House didn't bring it back for a vote at the end of session. So this year, we are running it in both the House and the Senate. We've got Representative Bupp, who's running it in the House, and Senator Schaefer running it in the Senate. Both sides are fast-tracking on this. We had opponent-proponent testimony yesterday, and maybe next Tuesday. There's nothing official yet because we don't have the hearing schedules for next week. Possibly, maybe it will go out for a vote out of committee next week. It was interesting yesterday, especially the testimony in the House. Actually, over in the Senate, there was a little proponent testimony, but they asked the opponents to come back next week because we ran out of time. But I wanted to talk about John Gilchrist, who is the Ohio Association Police Chiefs lobbyist. He's never been a policeman, but he is their paid lobbyist.
Okay.
And, when an anti-gun person starts their conversation out going, well, I want to put it out here, I'm not anti-gun. You know what they're going to be talking about. They're going to proceed and slam us.
Yeah.
And, going back 7 years ago when we got original concealed carry passed, he was the one, screaming there's going to be blood in the streets and all that. Well, he hasn't figured it out yet 7 years later that, his predictions haven't come true. He still thinks, us law-abiding citizens are going to go out and get drunk and, start shooting people up if we carry in our restaurants. And he made a comment also about...
Linda, I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt, but can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If this is true, why hasn't it happened already? I mean, if concealed carry holders in Ohio are you guys are waiting to be able to legally carry into a restaurant before you get drunk and violate the... Why wouldn't you just violate the law now?
Well, when you've spent 12 hours going through a class, you go to the sheriff's department, you get fingerprinted, you submit to a background check that the government has said we have to have.
Mm-hmm.
And as I tell my students, that little piece of plastic that the government told me that I can carry my gun is more important to me than going out, having a few beers at Applebee's and deciding to shoot the place up.
Yeah. So in other words, you're law-abiding now, and you'll continue to be law-abiding even after restaurant carry becomes law.
Yes, I would be confident in saying yes.
Huh. Okay. I mean, it just seems like such a weird argument to me that that these folks are making. That again, there's not a problem with right to carry holders now, but if all of a sudden you're allowed to enter a building where you can't currently enter while you are carrying, all hell is going to break loose.
Yeah. So, the most insulting thing to all gun owners yesterday that come from John Gilchrist was he held up this newspaper. It's called The Slammer. Had never heard of it before.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's published monthly or weekly, but it covers Franklin County, which would be Columbus, and then Licking County, which is east. It's a rural, suburban county. And they publish all the mugshots of all the people who have been arrested during that period of time in which this magazine's put out. He's holding it up. He's trying to justify. He's saying that, well, the different law enforcement agencies, sheriffs, troopers, city cops, etc., can't cross-reference to know who's got a concealed handgun license. And he's holding this up, and he goes, there's 20 pages in this. 17 pages is Franklin County criminals. 3 pages is Licking County. And you can't tell me that some of these people that have been arrested aren't concealed handgun licenses.
What?
Yeah.
So he just had a list of criminals and just said, there's got to be some concealed carry holders on here somewhere.
Exactly. That's exactly what he's trying to say. And
There are probably some lawyers. By that logic,
well,
there are
the
probably some
unemployment,
lobbyists
that's
on
true.
there.
There's got to be some football players on there.
I mean, that's
So, yeah, it's, and he's going to get his opportunity next week to give this same testimony in the Senate, which will be Tuesday at 4:30 as long as they schedule it for a hearing. So, yeah, I would really challenge our listeners to come on down to the State House Tuesday and have your brains explode on what the anti-gun people say about us.
That is sick, Linda.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, the great news is if that's the best argument that they can muster, I feel pretty good.
Yeah. Well, we've got the votes there. I'm 99% confident that we're going to get these passed. Governor Kasich has already said, get it to my desk. I will sign this bill. And from what we hear, he would like it on his desk before they break for summer. So I believe we're good. And I don't know. We'll just listen to the antis for another week or two.
All right. Hey, thanks so much for coming on the program tonight, Linda. Anytime. It's a real pleasure. Linda Walker from Buckeye Firearms Association joining us here on Cam & Company.